This is Justin.
And this is Haley. You're listening to The Price of Avocado Toast.
We're a married millennial couple wanting to normalize the conversations around money. We want to hear about your highs and your lows,
The do's and the don'ts on your path towards financial freedom. Hi Toasties, welcome to The Price of Avocado Toast.
Whether you're a first-time listener or you've been following us from the start of this thing, we're so glad to have this conversation with you today.
We have big things.
Yeah, big news. The big announcement after a couple weeks of teasing this one.
Yeah. How do you feel about this episode?
I'm excited for it. Nervous. Yeah.
When we put this out there, you can't take it back.
I cannot take it back. You're all right. Once this is out in the world, it's out in the world. Yeah.
Then it's going to spread like wildfire. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we had a bunch of weird guesses from people. My favorite was that we were having twins. Are we having twins, honey?
We're not having twins, although that wouldn't be shocking because I do have a twin brother. Although twins aren't genetic, right?
I mean,
Or
you are
hereditary.
identical.
Twins aren't hereditary, right?
I mean, isn't it fraternal twins that are?
Maybe.
And
I don't
you are
know. See, I
identical?
don't even know anything about twins. I just know that I'm a twin.
All I know is we are not having twins.
We're not having twins.
Good guess. We got that one several times. That is definitely not the case.
No.
We also had a few people say that we're going to have a sponsor. I thought that was cool. That means that you believe in us to be cool enough to have a sponsor.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
No, that's not it either.
If you could have anybody sponsor us, what who would you want to sponsor us? That you're like, yeah, I'm behind that product 100%.
See, I already told someone because they were like, hey, you could make this and go into sponsorship or blah, blah, blah. I already told someone I don't really think I want to do that. I don't know that I believe in anything that much.
Really?
Where I'd want to like put our name on it. I also don't want to be pushy. What about you?
What 1,000% it would be Rosso. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it.
But that would be a sponsor. You guys, Rosso is Rosso Pizzeria and Wine Bar. It's the restaurant here in Santa Rosa where I work, and it's delicious. I've worked there for like 6 years now.
Okay.
It's amazing. I love the owner. I love the staff. I mean, one of the groomsmen in my wedding was the owner's son who hired me. Like, I love everything about that place.
Okay,
So I would have them sponsor us.
I like that, but I'm thinking more like, something that could reach people elsewhere.
Gotcha.
And Rosso cannot reach people
Well,
elsewhere.
unless they're here to visit,
True.
Rosso can give me one pizza a month, and then we'll keep them on the podcast. But anyways, yeah, you guys, we don't have sponsors.
We don't have sponsors.
But thanks for supporting us and thinking that we're good enough for a sponsor.
Yeah, maybe someday. We also don't have a crazy YouTube channel coming your way. I mean, we are on YouTube, but it's like lame. It's just the MP3 audio of the podcast.
See, with YouTube, I think like you have to look nice, and like when we record the
Do
podcast,
we not look nice? I mean, right now I look straight like a hoodlum.
No, but like yeah, we're in sweats and like t-shirts when we record the podcast because all people hear is our voices, and they don't really need to see our, they don't need to see our voices. So who cares how we dress? I mean, shoot, it's our home. Like we could be wearing nothing. And nobody would ever know. So, nope, no YouTube channel coming, though. It's too much work there.
Okay. Another one, which I really like this one. Someone was like, please tell me you guys are going into financial coaching. That's not it either. At least not at this time.
Not at this time. But it's definitely something that we've talked about. It's definitely something that you're interested in. I think that there's a really cool, space for people who have been through some hard financial stuff and made difficult sacrifices and changed their mindset and their habits, and you're somebody that really embodies that, and I think you're a really good teacher.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a cool side gig, for you. Obviously, like, I'm a football coach. Football is like year round, and that's kind of my hobby, but you're a swim coach, and that's only
Right.
for 3 months in the year that you can swim. So maybe financial coaching becomes your other side gig. And
I
that'd
mean,
be fun.
it's definitely in the works. Just not at this very moment. We're not going to be doing anything anytime soon. But I'm thinking more early fall. We'll pick that idea back up and go with it.
Yeah.
So, David, if you're listening, it's in the works. I need to talk to you. And the last one was debt freedom. And I thought, that's interesting. that kind of ties into what we're talking about today.
That is interesting. I didn't know somebody suggested that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
They were like, "Oh, are you getting a new house? Are you?" This person said new house, debt freedom, a bunch of different things. And I'm like, "Oh, interesting."
Do you remember who that was?
It was Lauren, six-figure debt,
Oh.
six-figure debt, 2 JDs, but she doesn't know.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So good guess, Lauren.
Yeah, great guess, Lauren.
You win the gold.
Yeah.
All right. So what is our announcement?
All right, you guys, this is a big announcement, and we are excited to share that this episode is going to be talking all about why Haley and I are selling our home and moving away from Sonoma County
And paying off all of our debt.
and paying off all of our debt in the process. Whoa.
Yeah. Big,
Exciting.
big decisions. This has been a couple of years in the works, like without really even knowing it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go into how we came up with this conclusion to do this, but you know, if you've been listening, we started our debt-free journey listening to Dave Ramsey. We no longer follow him, but we started listening to him, and that's really what kick-started it for us. You know, hearing those debt-free screams, I would like cry and tear up every single time, being like, wow, I want that so bad.
Yeah.
Like so bad. And although we don't follow Dave Ramsey anymore or support much of really anything that he does, we still want that. Like, I still want debt freedom. I still have so many things that he did teach us, and we will go with it, and we'll make it our own. And I don't know that Dave Ramsey would tell us to sell our home, but I don't really care anymore.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought, like, that's a bit extreme. I don't know if that would necessarily be supported by this person that we were idolizing. But now that we've stepped away, I've really been able to come to the conclusion that there is no one-size-fits-all budgeting or financial thing for anybody or any family.
Yeah.
What we do will not be identical to what our neighbors do.
Yeah.
And it just can't be. We have to do what's best for us and for our families. And so this is part of why we have opened up to this idea. So I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about how you came to this conclusion personally, because as I've shared with you over and over and over for the past 5 years, like tomorrow, if you were like, hey, honey, I want to move to Arizona, I'd be like, LFG, we're going.
Yeah.
Let's go. Mm-hmm. And I would move to New York City tomorrow. I would move to Canada tomorrow. I personally have moved 50 different times in my life. So the connection's definitely not as deep, and I'm willing to just like go. So for you, this has been harder. So how did you come to the conclusion of really just being okay with this? Because you kind of initiated it.
Yeah, you know, it's something I've struggled with for a while. I really love Sonoma County, and I love being here. It's obviously where I was born and raised. I haven't left. I'm not a huge traveler. Like, I just like the safety and security of where we live. But it was becoming increasingly clear that at this stage in our careers, it is very, very hard to get ahead with the cost of living in Sonoma County. And because of some early choices that we made while we weren't as financially savvy, which is, you know, racking up student loan debt and credit card debt and purchasing a house that we weren't quite ready for, you know, it's increasingly harder to get ahead while we have a second child coming. And it is wiser for my family right now to make that choice to move and to sacrifice maybe a little bit and to have a change of scenery and see where that takes us than it is to try and keep shoveling water out of a canoe that's got holes in the bottom. You know what I mean? Because that's how it feels. Like, I'll shovel as much as I need to keep that boat afloat, but at the end of the day, all I'm going to do is burn myself out, right? Instead, what I need to do is walk that canoe to the shore and fix it, and then we can get back in the water later, you know? But it was a hard decision. It was a really hard decision. But again, as we have become more, you know, financially literate, you start to be able to do math a little bit easier, and you start to be able to project things long term and think about things long term. and there's concessions I'm willing to make about how I live my life and the things that I experience, but there are things I will not budge on for my daughters and the life that I want them to have. And at this current moment, that's the best option for my daughters. So I'm going to take it.
I like the canoe because that makes a lot of sense. And I think so many people who do live in Sonoma County can relate to that, or in California in general, because it's absolutely insane how expensive things are here.
Yeah.
And people make jokes about California all the time. And, well, if it's so expensive, why don't you just leave? Well, everyone we know and love lives here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to move away from our family and friends. We may relocate to a different part of California, but we're going to stay in this state and just try to find like a cheaper option for us.
Yeah.
And, you know, we did a early episode on, I think it's called Debt-Free Dreaming,
Mm-hmm.
about what we want in life. And we don't want something elaborate. I don't want like to live in a mansion and have all these nice things.
Yeah.
That's not what I want. But one thing that I do want is to have multiple children. And I've
Mhm.
said that from the beginning. I want 3 or 4 kids. You want 3. We'll probably just have 3. But that's so expensive here
Yeah.
that just that thought of having 3 children here and paying for daycare was what really got me thinking, like, okay, I'm not really willing at this point to wait 5 years to have our next child, because that's what we have to do to wait for one kid to be in school so we can afford it for daycare.
Yeah.
And so that's what really got me thinking of our other options, because I don't want just this location to be what hinders like our whole entire family planning.
For sure.
And so anyway, there's a lot that went into coming to this conclusion, but the biggest thing for us has been paying off the debt.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, we want to be debt free, and we'll go into that more in a little bit about what that's going to look like with the price breakdown of the home and everything, but yeah, we want to get rid of that. It feels so heavy, and we haven't really been paying on student loans for a really long time because after I had Calliope, I went into deferment on my loans. And
Well, that's kind of
you hadn't been paying yet.
yeah, but that's kind of bad phrasing because we did pay a lot during the shutdown.
No, yeah. We totally paid a shit ton. We paid like $40,000 of student loans last year. But none of it was like, you know, where it's due on the 1st and you have your $300 bill. We haven't had a bill that was due since like December 2019.
Yeah.
However, we have paid a lot into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just worry. I think of like October coming when the student loans are back up, and I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be so much money that we owe if we don't pay that off. We owe $90,000 of student loans,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's just going to increase. So anyway, we want to pay that off. And then another thing is, after like we have our debt paid off, the daycare cost was, like I said, that's a huge factor. I did a poll on my personal Instagram about how much daycare costs for people here locally, and the numbers varied really all over the place. But for the most part, it was between like $2,400 and $2,800 for 2 kids, which is a lot.
Very expensive here.
And we're about to have 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And where we're planning on relocating, it's going to be near my mom, who works but super part-time. So the daycare cost would be between $1,200 and $2,000 because we'd have my mom's help. And even if we didn't have my mom's help at all, the highest we'd pay is $2,000.
Yeah.
So we're saving money there.
Yeah, saving a little bit of money. Definitely. And daycare's, I mean, who knows how long the kids will be in daycare, who knows what that looks like, but realistically, you will be going back to the classroom and teaching again soon. And so we will have kids in daycare, and that's, I think every parent, that's the first thing they think about, like, okay, this is a big cost that's going to get added in. And right now we've fine-tuned our budget, but squeezing in $2,000 of daycare is difficult. And if it's much higher than that, which it would be here in Sonoma County, it's going to be a struggle for us.
Yeah, and And like I said, right now we're not paying on monthly student loans, and we don't have daycare because we've never had to put Calliope into daycare. But those are things that are coming up soon. We're about to have 2 kids. Student loans are going to have to be paid back starting in October or really whenever. So we have a few things that need to be really taken into consideration seriously, not just like, oh, whatever, it'll come up, you know.
Yeah.
We're both Enneagram 3s. We like to plan. And I can't just sit here and be like, oh, it'll be okay, because it's not going to be okay. We don't make enough money for it to be okay.
Yeah. It's difficult. So another reason that we have come to this decision is the fact that we were probably going to be moving out of this current home whenever we had 3 kids. Now, we were comfortable trying to, have Kennedy here and have 2 babies in this house, but it is increasingly getting a little bit more cramped. I don't really have a ton of closet space.
You have no closet space.
I have no closet space. I use the other closet.
You literally have all your clothes in the other bedroom.
Yeah. So it's just going to get more and more cramped as our kiddos collect more stuff, and as a family as we collect more stuff. And we knew we were going to want to move into a 4-bed, 2-bath eventually. So making the move was something that's been on our mind anyways, whether it was in Sonoma County or to a different county as well. We knew that eventually we're going to outgrow this home. This wasn't ever our forever home. Even when we purchased it, when it was just you and I, as a dating couple that purchased this home, we knew it wasn't going to be our forever home. It was just a really good little starter home for our family. But I think I am comfortable walking away from it in that regard, because I've always treated it like a starter home.
For sure.
I've always known that, hey, this is a really good place to put my money right now. And in the future, we won't be here, so hopefully we can sell it and, make some money.
Yeah, we thought about, renting. I mean, we thought about that a long time ago. Maybe we keep this home and buy our next home and rent this one out. But that's just not a responsible move at all.
No, for sure.
Especially when we owe a significant amount and it would not profit anything. But, this house has a lot of... We brought our daughter home to this home.
I proposed to you
We
here.
got engaged in the backyard.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of really cool things in this home. But I'm okay moving.
And we have pictures. We have memories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We still have all those moments. So
It's a beautiful home. And I'm really lucky to have had the opportunity to own a home in Sonoma County, because I know that
a blessing.
Oh, yeah. And a home this size with a yard.
Yeah.
So if you're local to Sonoma County and you're looking to buy a 3-bed, 2-bath, hit us up. We'll send you the address. It'll be on Zillow on March 15th.
Yeah.
We've also casually Zillowed for years every time we go anywhere. And, I mean, for me, that was more serious than for you. But I think yours became a little more obsessive. Every time we went somewhere, you were like, okay, now I really start to see these things. And mine was like... Well, let's go move to Kentucky or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm okay moving anywhere. But you really started, as the years went by, to really see whoa, these numbers are serious, and it could be way different if we were in a different place.
Yeah, and I think that, for educators, the cost of living adjustment here in Sonoma County just doesn't really justify much. And since we've unfortunately had fires for the past few years, the rental market's gone up like bananas. The housing market has certainly gone up as well, but because of that, other aspects of the county have gone up that are starting to phase us out price-wise until our salaries go up. And so, at this point in time, it's just not feasible. And slowly over time, you realize that. We took a trip to Nashville, and you see what homes cost in Nashville, and you're like, what? This is wild. So,
I put on Instagram talking about homes and stuff. I've been posting stuff about Zillow. If you're missing my hints about how expensive things are, I've been hinting at that for a while. But someone said 1,800 square feet, is that a normal standard size home for a family? That seems kind of big. And I'm like, that's on the small end. And the only reason that seems big is because people can't afford that here. People can't afford an 1,800 square foot home here. And that is not asking a lot.
No.
That is not a mansion. That is not some 5,000 square foot home. That is a standard family size home. And all these people listening from other states are thinking that's a tiny house. Yeah. That's a tiny starter house. And for people to think that in Sonoma County that's considered big, That's kind of sad, but it's the truth.
And that's with no yard. That's like zero space. You got neighbors on the left and the right, and right behind
Yeah.
you, like that. You're backed up. That's not with like land.
No, and there's people like cars, thousands of cars just everywhere. There's a lot of people here.
It's a lot. So this last one I want to share, you guys. This is another reason we came to this conclusion, and I'm pretty transparent. Haley and I are pretty transparent. So let me tell y'all what teachers make here in California, because it ain't great, Bob. Now, I love my job. My job is incredible. Where I work is amazing, and I would work there forever and retire from there. I mean, it's the school I went to as a kid growing up. But when you take out my teacher retirement, when you take out health care for my family, when you take out my union fees, when you take out the money that I have to plan for so that I get a paycheck over the summer to help me budget my money.
Because you don't get paid.
I do not get paid in that 12th
for June
month.
and July.
I do not, no. So to put aside money each month out of my paycheck so that I get another paycheck throughout the year, I take home $2,454.20 each month. And I get that in one check at the end of the month that's, for the next month. And our current mortgage here is $2,124.37. So that's a difference of about $330. That's what we would have left over. And I mean, that means that's roughly 50% of our income goes to housing, which is astronomically
That
wild.
is beyond house poor.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share this little tidbit. I don't know that I've shared this quite yet. But if you've been listening for a while, I lost my teaching job last year, which ended at the end of the school year last year. So as of June 1st or whatever, I was able to file for unemployment. Well, so I had unemployment over the summer, and then I got a job, worked for half of the school year, and then I stopped in December. So I was able to actually reopen my unemployment claim.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I am taking home unemployment money, making $800 more a month than Justin is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a salaried teacher, a professional, and that blows my mind, and I think some people really need to hear those numbers.
Yeah.
Some people in Sonoma County need to hear those numbers to think, where's the money that we're all paying taxes for the schools? Where's it going? Because these teachers aren't making jack shit.
Yeah. I also think people can hear that number because when they want to get out of pocket and disrespect teachers, now they know, like, yo, I'm not paid enough for you to talk to me like that.
Oh, no.
I am not paid enough for you to tell me, whatever you want to tell me about your kids not being able to come to school when I make zero decisions on any of that.
And for real, you could go be a nanny and make 3 times that much money.
Yeah, I could be a server. I've been a great server and a bartender. I mean, I could go make, easy $200 a night, work 20 days of the month like I already do, walk out with that and apply for Covered California. Mm-hmm. Like, I could easily do that.
And this episode isn't to, we know why we went into teaching. We went into teaching because we love teaching.
Yeah.
We didn't go in it, don't go in it for the income, you go for the outcome. Yeah. But we still need to be paid.
Yeah.
Like professionals and not like this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're at a school that you love and respect so much, because this decision has not come easy, but it's hard. We still pay $1,300 out of our family's pocket every month for health insurance, and that is included. Like, Justin's number does not include the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be making way, way, way more money if we weren't paying for our, family's insurance. But it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of go into the savings.
Yeah.
When we sell our home, what are we going to be saving money on? I want to really make this as number specific as possible. So when we pay off our debt, we will be saving approximately $661 a month. I guess that's not approximately. That's exact.
Yeah.
That includes student loans, our timeshare maintenance fee, home warranty, and monthly pest service. All of those will be gone. We will no longer have to pay for those. So
yes.
That's a good chunk of money.
For sure.
Then also, we will be moving towards Grass Valley, which is in Nevada County, California, near my mom. And if we go there, we save about $100 a month just based off of lower cost of living.
Yeah.
That's PG&E, which is our gas and electric, gas, food, services like getting your hair cut. All those things cost way less. So
Yeah.
it'll add up
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And then, like I said, the daycare cost is approximately $400 to $1,200 savings, and that number really only goes off of the lowest number of Sonoma County. Like, there's no way we'd ever pay $2,800, so I just calculated that off of the $2,400.
For sure.
So there's a significant amount of money that's going to be saved, and you just heard what Justin takes home, so I think it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what's important too is to recognize like we're making a conscious choice to cut costs within our budget by selling our home, paying off our debts, and relocating, right? It's saving money may not be the correct term because it's not like we're stashing that money then away.
Correct.
But it's lowering our budget so that we have a higher chance to then save money, to put things into retirement, to save again for the next house that we choose to purchase. So I think that that's an important way to look at it too, is that this is helping our family continue to cut costs so that we can be long-term where we want to be.
Yeah. Right now we are paying for the past, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do this, we will be able to move forward.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter if it is really fast and we're able to just like max out our Roth IRAs and do all this investing right away, or if it's a slow process, because no matter what, it's way faster than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Right now, all we're doing is paying on things. I'm literally paying for student loans from 11 years ago.
Yeah. All right, we want to give you guys a breakdown here of the big numbers, the big math for selling our current home. So the housing market in Sonoma County is really hot right now. It's a seller's market. We are probably going to make some decent money off the home. That's the hope. But at the current listing price, that we're going to be putting it at, we would have roughly about $200,000 worth of equity in the home once we pay off the current mortgage loan. So once you take that equity, get rid of some realtor fees of about $27,500, we are looking to walk with around $172,000. Now, that is us, doing big math. There's obviously a lot of variables that could go into that and change that. But that's the big number that we're shooting for. That's what we're hoping to get out of the home. With that, what are we going to be doing? Well, we got to pay off all of our debt. So the first thing we're going to do is pay off the timeshare. It was a dumb decision of ours. We are paying stupid tax on it, and because of that, you can catch me in Cancun in June of 2022.
Yes.
Fully vaccinated, by the pool, drinking Mai Tais and gourmet margaritas.
Yes.
Whatever you want to say. Like, I'm abusing that timeshare.
Every year with no kids. I can't
Absolutely.
wait for that trip.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
going to be
hyped
our
on that.
debt-free trip.
Yes. So we're paying off the timeshare, and then we've got $90,000 worth of student loans left that we're going to be paying on. But we're going to wait until October because they're currently in deferment still while we're waiting for the president and Congress to decide what they want to do with student loans. Realistically, Haley and I do not believe that we're going to get $50,000 worth of student loans taken care of. But if they want to kick us a bone of like 5 G's, 10 grand, they want to take that off, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's just more money in our pockets. So there's no harm in waiting till October since they're not accruing any interest. So we're just going to let it sit in a high, what's it called? A high yield savings account. There you go. See, all of these words I've never had to use because, like I said, we're paying for the past. So I've never even thought about a high yield savings account. So it'll just sit there until we end up using it.
Yeah.
But then, assuming that we pay off all of it and there is no student loan forgiveness of any sort, which at this point I feel like there will be something, but we just don't know exactly what that is. So we're going to assume that there's nothing, that we are paying off $100,000 of debt, and that afterwards we'll have about $72,000 left. Now, what we're going to do with that money will kind of depend on where we land, but for sure, without a doubt, we are going to fund a fully funded $20,000 emergency fund. And we've talked about this in some previous episodes, and we just like that number.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
That's
20, it's
about
5
it's
months?
like under 4 months for us.
Yeah.
Our monthly budget right now in the home that we're in is $5,600 a month. We are gonna obviously lower it when we move, and let's say daycare doesn't get involved in that, we'll shoot around $5,000. So it's about 4 months up for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could go higher, but I'm comfortable with that number.
Yeah, I am too, because we're both qualified educators. So, losing a job is probably at worst like 3 months of summer.
For sure.
That
It's
we would
just a
miss.
short period of the year.
Yeah, and even then, with deferred net pay and putting money away into paychecks, we would still make that money. So we're honestly not too worried about that. Obviously, there's the unfortunate circumstances of accidents happening and going out on disability and stuff, but we've taken care of that insurance outlook as well to make sure that we're covered in those realms. So $20,000 is an emergency fund that feels comfortable for us.
Yeah, and we've talked about that number for a long time, and I just feel really good with it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that I also think we do a really good job of setting up sinking funds.
Yes.
So that we don't just tap into an emergency fund for things that we could have planned for.
Right. Like the home warranty that happens once a year that happens to be $500.
Yeah. Or, even stuff like planning ahead for vehicles or planning ahead for vacations or holidays, stuff like that. Like, I think we do a really good job of planning ahead for that. Actual work that would need to be done on any home that we purchase. Like, we've talked about what sinking funds we would set up so that an emergency truly is an emergency.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And that has taken the last year and a half to really get there. But
Yeah.
now we're in a place where we actually use cash now. We used to just do really bad math and the numbers were all over the freaking place. But now we take it out and it's physical in a closet. Don't rob me.
Yeah.
Okay, so then after we fully fund an emergency fund, and that will go also into a high yield savings account, then we'll have about $52,000 left. And I do acknowledge that not everybody is going to agree with us on this topic, and that's completely okay. But this is something that we've thought about for a really long time, and it's just what's best for our family. So I'm not going to be returning to teaching, and we will have essentially this cushion to use if needed, but we're going to really, really, really try not to tap into that at all, because once we move, you're going to have to get a second job. I'm probably going to work remotely or do something, but in the case scenario that we don't get jobs right away, we'll have something there.
I like to think that we're marketable employees, even in side gigs.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us have worked in the restaurant industry, and we don't have a problem serving tables to, make our bills. But we don't know what job opportunities are going to pop up or how they'll work with our schedule with having 2 kids and how that's all going to fit. So
Or with COVID right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope by the time we move that things open up, but you never know. And I think if we've learned anything in this past year, it's that you really don't know. So we will essentially have this cushion if at all needed, but we're really, really, really going to try to just not touch it at all and keep the rest stashed away for our next down payment.
Yeah, and something that's cool about it is we are going over our monthly budget today during our budget meeting, and our budget's getting smaller and smaller, and
like every time.
Yeah, with some of the money moves that we could potentially make by moving, it's going to help my salary go up a little bit. We're getting a little bit closer to our target range where actually me getting a second job might be able to help cover like all of our expenses. So it's really encouraging. But the goal is, like you said, to not have to tap into this, but we do have it in case our family needs.
And I do plan on going back to teaching.
For sure.
But I think realistically, originally it was for me to take the whole year off. And now we're thinking more like January of next year, so the first half of the year. So then I would be home for at least the first 6 months of our second baby's life with just her. And who knows, maybe, like I said, maybe we put Calliope in daycare and I'm just home with just one kid working remotely. That's doable. But we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the scenario is going to look like. So we're just keeping it pretty open, and we're going to kind of play it by ear. Yeah. I know people think it's a little crazy to just move somewhere without, like, solidified jobs, but I feel confident that it's going to be just fine, especially since you're a teacher and you're going to get a job.
I agree.
You are an elementary teacher and you speak Spanish and you're a dude.
Yeah.
You could teach kindergarten.
Triple threat.
Yes. And in case you missed it, because I feel like we didn't explicitly say that we were selling this house but not going to buy another one, we are going straight into the rental market. So we are selling our home, but we're not going to go buy another house. At least for right now, anyway. I think we will end up renting for probably 2 to 3 years and then buy our next home. So we essentially have that time to really build back up the down payment to whatever we want it to be.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, people say, like, oh, you don't want to pay somebody else's mortgage. And I get it, but I don't think a lot of people recognize that, like, when you purchase a home and you're not ready for it, it really can be difficult. If you don't know what it is to own a home, if you don't have funds to help support it when things happen to your home, like, it's expensive. Things come up and it costs money. And if you don't plan ahead for that, then you're really putting yourself in an out-leveraged position that isn't great. So we're going to rent for a little bit, make sure that wherever we buy our next home is really what we're looking for, and that we have the right financial literacy and money to back it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like for example, we're going to be doing some episodes here coming up about the home selling process now that we've been through it. But for example, we did a home inspection and a pest inspection, and we had it come up that apparently our glamorous, beautiful shower that we love has this, I don't even know how to explain it. What's wrong with it?
The shower pan is filled.
Anyway, long story short, this shower is big enough for about 15 adults to stand in it. So it's going to be about $12,000 to have fixed. And that's in the disclosures of our home. So we're not fixing it. The next person will end up fixing it. But the point is, we don't have $12,000 to fix the freaking shower.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready to own a home, there's no shame in renting.
Yeah.
I mean, owning a home when you're not ready is irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
And we just didn't know better.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what does this big move mean for our family? Well, it means a whole lot of different things, but I'm just going to kind of summarize what we talked about. It means that we're going to be debt-free. We're going to pay absolutely everything off. We're going to owe nobody, including our mortgage. So we're not going to still live here, but we're not going to have any payments anymore besides basic bills. So I'm super excited about that. And then we will have a fully funded emergency fund of $20,000 just sitting in a high yield savings account for legit emergencies if needed.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that's going to be a benefit from all this is being able to adjust my insurance at work.
Yes.
And to be
That's
able
going to make
to
a huge difference.
Yeah, to be able to maximize the HSA opportunities. I think it's going to be really cool to be able to take care of some of the, medical procedures, or I shouldn't even say procedures, but some of the medical moments that come up in life, and to not stress about them, but then also be able to use an HSA as an investment tool. That's going to be really cool, and it's going to be interesting to tap into that kind of financial win. And then additionally on top of that, because we're going to be getting into an HSA plan through my employer, I'll probably have a higher monthly paycheck because my premiums aren't going to be that high. So it's kind of twofold. We get to maximize this really cool investment vehicle and also save a little bit of money on paychecks. So it's going to be a win-win.
Yeah, if we just looked at the math at the place you're currently at, you pay $1,300 for a family's insurance out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
But if we were to adjust to the HSA, I'm just doing the math off of where you're currently at, we would only pay like $300, right?
$291.
$291. Okay, so then that's $1,000 more a month.
Yeah.
Potentially.
And you can only put, a certain amount into an HSA.
Yeah.
So we could even take that 1,000, throw it into an HSA, and then over the course of a few months, have a fully stocked HSA. So it really is like, oh, this is super cool. As long as you get the high deductible plan, you're good.
Yeah, and we would be able to because we would have that higher emergency fund fully funded for real emergencies if needed. So we'd be able to take care of stuff as it came along. So this is really it's a clean slate for our family. We get to start fresh, but with the knowledge to do better because we didn't know before. And I'm not going to sit here and dwell on all the things that we've screwed up doing the last few years, but it's really nice to be able to look forward into the future positively. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm nervous, obviously, but I'm excited for it. And it's going to be interesting to step outside of my comfort zone and to see where it goes.
I do want to mention that. So there are a lot of benefits for us doing this, a lot of financial benefits. So this has not been easy for you really specifically because of your family, and I want you to kind of dive into how you've really maneuvered the I don't like the discomfort in this decision because of leaving your whole family and where you've been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still think that, like, I'll be honest, I don't think I've maneuvered it particularly well. Like, it's been really hard for me. It was hard to tell my family about it. It was hard to bring it up with them. It's still hard to talk about it because I'm going to miss them. And this is where I've grown up. I don't know any other place.
Yeah.
So it's going to be super weird for me to be away from them. But my my kind of shining light through all of that, I guess, is that even during the difficult times of COVID-19 and the quarantine, through FaceTime and Zoom, I've been able to be close with my family. My brother and my sister and I are all on a text thread, and we communicate often. And I've built really good relationships with both of them as adults, and I'm excited to see where our relationships go moving forward. And I also think that we'll still find ways to be with them and visit them.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
we're moving 2.5 hours away. It's not across the nation where we have to fly back to visit. Like, getting in the car on a Saturday morning and planning a day with them is not that hard to do. So there's still plenty of opportunities to do that, and it's going to be interesting. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a hard decision. It's been one of the
Yeah.
hardest decisions I've ever made as a human being. But if it's right for my family, then I have to at least give it a shot.
And give it a shot is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we've made the commitment to do this for at least a year, and we can do anything for a year. We could go there and be like, we hate this and move back.
Yeah.
But we're going to try it and see how our family likes it. You can do anything for the family to kind of test it out. Nothing is permanent. We could come back in 5 years, or we could go and decide that, hey, we really like this and this is what's best for us.
It also makes it really easy because our kiddos aren't in school yet. So it's not like
Yeah.
we're transplanting them from school to school. They're still
Definitely.
young at home. It's really easy to decide where we want to settle our roots before the kiddos get into school.
And I grew up in Oregon with my whole family in California and Nevada. So I'm really confident that you guys will definitely be able to keep a tight relationship, even from a slight difference. You're not in a different state. But like I said in the beginning of this episode, it's easy. It's way easier for me. I would move yesterday to pretty much anywhere in the world. So I acknowledge this has been really hard for you, but we both agree that this is what's best for our family. So if anyone listening has gone through something like this, where you've relocated to a different state or relocated away from family or just to a cheaper cost of living place, write us on Instagram. We're at the Price of Avocado Toast on Instagram. We want to hear your stories and how you maneuvered this. I'm the one checking the Instagram, but I share the stories with Justin. So if you have any words to help him through this process, that'd be really good. I think that'd be helpful for you.
Yeah, send me some positive vibes.
Yeah, positive vibes. We need them. And we really just appreciate everyone's support with this wild decision that we've decided to make for our family.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the support, everyone. That's going to do it for this episode of The Price of Avocado Toast. As always, we are so thankful to have had this conversation with you, and we're so thankful to be a part of this community of people who support us and care about us and only want what is best for our wonderful little family. Happy budgeting.
You've got this, Toasties. Thank you for listening to The Price of Avocado Toast. If you vibed with this episode, share it with a friend.
If you're interested in speaking more with the financial coach, hit up our coach Ryan at MeFinanciallyFree on Instagram.